Hi everyone, what's up? Welcome to yet another episode of ARA, Anxiety Recovery with Albright. If you're new here, my name is Medlin Albright and I use my own recovery from severe sensitization, severe anxiety, chronic depression to help others who are still struggling. So make sure to hit that subscription button, make sure to hit that notification bell. Anytime I'm live, anytime I post a new video, you'll be able to get notified. Otherwise, let's get it started. I looked sick. When I was struggling with anxiety, I looked unhealthy. I lost tons of weight when I was struggling with anxiety. When I first started struggling with anxiety, I was 77 kg, 78 kg. Then within a span of months, I was 45 kg. I lost tons of weight, like almost 30 kg down. I remember there's a time an uncle of mine, we are very close with that uncle of mine. He came to visit us and he actually just said, Albright, you have a problem. You look sick. You have lost tons of weight. You look unhealthy. You know, there's this weight when someone loses, you're just like, okay, this person, like there's this losing weight in a healthy way. You just see this person is in a clean diet. They've lost weight in a healthy way. Then there's this losing weight that you literally look sick. You look stressed. That weight loss just looks from, you are struggling with something. You're struggling with something that is invisible. You're struggling with chronic stress. That's how I look like. I'm going to insert a picture here of how I looked like when I was struggling with anxiety. The tons of weight that I lost when I was struggling with anxiety. I'm going to insert the picture here. This is exactly how I looked like when I was struggling with anxiety. And in Nairobi, when you lose weight, people are just like, maybe you're struggling with something. My clothes couldn't fit me, So when you lose weight, some people may comment, and I'm very sensitive of people who comment on my weight. When you're thin, people assume that you're struggling with something. You're struggling with chronic stress. You're having a problem that maybe you don't want to share. You're having a mental stress. So of course, sometimes I used to cancel social events. I used to avoid meeting people. I avoided life in general because people were going to comment on my weight. So I didn't want that kind of scenario where I now start explaining why I have lost weight and even made, I just found myself losing weight and, I didn't know how to go about it. So if you're watching this video and you're losing tons of weight, some people struggling with anxiety also tend to gain weight, and I'm going to explain all that. I'm going to use this video to explain why you are losing weight and how you can gain that weight in the long term. There are some people who also, when struggling with anxiety, they tend to gain weight. Then they're not losing, they're gaining weight. I'm also going to explain how that happens. I remember a scenario where my clothes couldn't fit me. So in every cloth that I had to wear, the trousers, the shorts, I had to use a belt. And even that belt, the clothes were still not hugging me properly. So you guys can imagine how thin I was. I was thin. So the reason why you are losing weight when struggling with anxiety is, first of all, nausea. When you're struggling with anxiety, you may experience nausea. I used to suffer from intense nausea. I'm going to create another video separately on nausea, how it is caused and how you can be able to overcome nausea. But when struggling with anxiety, you may struggle with nausea, which most of people do. The nausea comes by because blood is moved away from the stomach to the muscles. Because there's this, when you're in the fight or flight, the state that you're in is called the fight or flight. So when you're in the fight or flight, there is this perceived threat that your brain believes that you need to fight. So for you to be able to fight this threat, blood has to be moved to the muscles, to the areas where it is important for you to be able to fight this threat. That's why you're experiencing nausea. Blood is moved away from the stomach to the, to the muscles, to the important areas, so that you can be able to fight this threat. So if you're struggling with anxiety, you may struggle with nausea. And if you're struggling with nausea, you avoid eating. You avoid eating because anytime you try and drink something, anytime you try to put something in your mouth, you're just like, I'm gonna vomit, I'm gonna throw up. So you not eating something, you avoiding eating makes you lose tons of weight. Another thing is, I found out when I was struggling with anxiety is, you see this energy here. If you're someone who is always, people struggling with anxiety are always under stress. They are always overthinking. They are always overworrying. They are always overanalyzing. So when you are always constantly engaging the brain, it takes up a lot of energy and you might find yourself losing weight. The third reason is, when you are in the fight or flight, you need energy to fight this perceived threat that your brain believes in. So for you to be able to gain that energy, your body burns up the excess resources that you have. The already resources that you have, your body is going to burn them, because you being in that state means that you already have excess adrenaline. Adrenaline is a stress hormone that is making you to be in that state. So adrenaline burns up the excess resources, the already resources that you have, making you ready to fight this perceived threat. So those are the three main reasons why you are losing weight. The nausea brought by anxiety, making you avoid eating, so of course you're going to lose weight. Adrenaline burns off the resources that you already have, making you lose weight. And also your constant engaging the mind, overworrying, overthinking, the constant stress is making you lose weight. So if you ever wonder, why am I losing weight, it's because of those three main reasons. One mistake that I did when I was in the anxiety cycle is constantly checking my weight. I was so focused on adding weight because of course I was thin and I wanted to add weight. So I was so focused on, adding weight that I kept on checking. Every time I'm checking my weight machine if I've already added weight. This resulted because I was focusing on adding weight. Do not focus on adding weight. The weight will come as you heal from anxiety, as you focus on overcoming anxiety. Do not focus on adding weight. The weight will come. I gained so much weight that now I was again focused on losing the weight that I had already added. Don't focus on adding weight. You're gonna add all that weight as you recover from anxiety, as you heal from anxiety. The opposite also happens to some people when they're struggling with anxiety. They add tons of weight when they're in the anxiety cycle. It happens because of the medication. I don't know what is being put on these meds, but you tend to gain tremendous weight when you're taking those medications. Because I remember at the beginning when I was taking those meds, I added tons of weight. But of course, you all know my story. I withdrew from meds because they were not working for me. I was taking the meds, but I was still having these symptoms. So I withdrew from the meds. Also, they were making me numb. They were making me fatigued. Then I said, why am I taking these meds? So I withdrew from them. So if you're taking medications, if you're taking supplements because of anxiety, you are bound to gain weight. Some people also use food as comfort. Anytime they feel like they're anxious, anytime they feel like they're uncomfortable from their symptoms brought by anxiety, they grab a popcorn, they grab some protein. So you use food as comfort. This is going to make you to add weight. So what I would advise people who have lost tons of weight because of anxiety, focus on healing from anxiety. Weight is not something you should be worried about. When you heal from anxiety, when you overcome anxiety, you're gonna add tremendous weight. Now you'll again be struggling with losing that weight because now it will be a lot. So you're gonna add all that weight when you regain your life back. As you heal, in the process of healing, you realize that again you are now adding weight. I have clients who approach me when they are 40 kgs, 45 kgs, and as time goes by, as they heal from anxiety, as they overcome anxiety, they realize that again they are adding weight. They have regained all their weight back. So it is something that will come back as you heal from anxiety. So don't get worried about your weight. If you have watched this video up to this point, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. If you have anything that you'd like me to talk about, kindly comment down in the comment section. Otherwise, let's meet on the next video. Bye.